Hey everybody, it's your girl Chandie. Welcome back to another week. Chandie Speaks Podcast. I'm here. I'm recording this from beautiful Sedona, Arizona. It's like almost 2 o'clock. It's like 1:30 in the afternoon. I finally got, so here's the thing. I know depending on how this recording turns out, the sound quality may not be up to par, depending on how this turns out, because I'm recording it from 2 different locations right now, just in case, something happens like last week where I had a whole hour of the episode recorded, but when I stopped the recording, the whole episode or recording glitched out and the file did not exist. So just in case that happens again on my laptop, I cleared up some space this week. I got a new laptop charger, and so this is me coming from that. I don't know if I'll upload the video version of this. Can you hear me okay? I'm not sure if I'll upload the video version of this episode on YouTube, but just in case I upload portions of it, I'm recording this also from a friend's place, from inside, from not my van right now. So that's what you see in the background. Actually, on second thought, I'm not gonna upload it just for their privacy's sake. But yeah, I'm recording this from my bed and breakfast right now. Man, it took me all day to get to this point because I was waiting for my new cord. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing all these technical difficulties. It's like 3 weeks in a row right now. But I was waiting for my cord to come so I can charge my laptop so that I can record this. And so it finally came. So I've been up all day. I was actually with a really good friend of mine, Sherry. She was a guest star on the show. She just got back into town. In fact, we're planning on having another episode where she'll come and just sort of do like a rehash on her trip and things that's happened since the last time she was on the show. But that's basically what I was doing all morning, was just trying to get to this point where I'm recording it. And here we are, and I have nothing to talk about. As usual, what I wanted to do was I wanted to try and go live on YouTube, just so that I can get like a chat going on. I was thinking about creating a lot of things going on in my mind. I was thinking about creating a panel of people because I've been watching other content creators and their podcasts, and I think a panel would be a good idea if I have a solid discussion topic. Obviously not right now when I have basically nothing to talk about. So I'm actually going to try that right now. I'm going to go live on YouTube just to sort of have in the background, and I don't know the sound quality because I'm doing it from my laptop, but onward with the podcast. What did I have this week? I don't really have much going on this week. We have in beautiful Sedona, Arizona, we're going into like our slower season of tourism. We're like a tourist town all year round. So we're going into our slower season, and my hours at work, I work in the hospitality industry, they've basically been the same, but just like the overall vibe of the town has sort of shifted just ever so slightly. I haven't been in Arizona this long. That's a fun fact I know I wanted to talk about. This is the latest that I've ever been in Arizona. It's June 9th. It's Tuesday, June 9th. This podcast will be for Wednesday, June 10th. I don't even know how much longer I'll have to record at this place. This might actually be one of those episodes where I'll stop recording halfway through and make another recording. I'm trying to go live right now on YouTube. I don't know how it'll play out, but yeah, normally this is like my 3rd time here in Arizona. First time I came to Arizona was in 2021. I got here in October, and I left on the 1st day of June. Actually, I left right after my dog had passed away. Hold on, this thing is asking me to... I don't even know if I'm... Sorry, I'm trying to do 2 things at once. I don't know if I'm able to go live and record a video at the same time. should be able to. Hold on. It looks like it's recording from both YouTube and from... Bear with me right now. I don't know. I'm gonna work out the kinks. This is just like literally like a crash test. All these extra questions. Yeah, so the longest I've been in Arizona was 8 months, and that was from like October of 2021 to like June of 2022. My dog passed away, and then from there I went to... Thank God this is recording from my phone and from the computer, because I'm not even sure how this will turn out. But yeah, so after my dog passed away in June of 2022, I took my van out to Colorado. I stayed in Colorado for like maybe a month, and then after a month I drove out to Chicago. This was back in my old van. Went back to Chicago, and then I went to Jamaica, and then I came back. This was like right around the same time of 2022, like probably September, I think. And the same thing that time. I got to Arizona in September, and then I left in June. So this time right now, this is my third time coming back to Arizona, Sedona specifically. And it's been like the longest time. I got here in August, and it's June right now. So I've never done a summer in Arizona. So I'm a little nervous about that. Like I hear horror stories from people who live in Phoenix, people who have, they had 100 degrees in February earlier this year. I'm sure you guys are really wanting a weather report from Phoenix, per usual with me, but yeah, I don't know how this summer is going to be, and I've been just trying to tell myself to just plan on it being a brutal summer, because you live in a metal box, you live in your van, and yeah, just do the best you can to stay cool and stay hydrated. So I thought that was cool. This past week was like my anniversary of like the latest that I've ever been. Normally I'm out of fucking Dodge. Normally I get going really quick when the summer comes to cooler grounds, but I'm really trying to not migrate this time around. I'm trying to plant my seeds here. Okay, it looks like I'm live right now. It looks like I'm live. I just don't know. It looks like, yeah, it's recording from both right now. By the time this goes up, you guys will just be hearing the back end of it, but I'm here. Chandie speaks. There was a story that I really wanted to get into now that I think about it. Now that I think about it, I did want to get into a story about this. I think I meant to get into it last week, but I did not get into it last week because of my technical difficulties. So let me just actually look up the exact story before I start paraphrasing and misleading people. Okay, so yeah, I just did a general Google search on this. Just did a general Google search. Apparently, and this is old news. This was in May. It's not old news. Back in my day, old news meant like at least 5-10 years old. Nowadays, people say it's old news if it's a week old. If it's over a week old, then it's hella old. So this was from May, so only a few weeks old, but I'm late. I'm the one reporting it right now, a few weeks after the fact. But basically, and I live here. I live here in beautiful Sedona, Arizona. I do van life. I pretty much know the culture, or lack thereof, and the energy that's behind the city in it as a whole. So this story was revolving around a lady who, I think she was, okay, so there's the story that is told online, and then there's the story that I was told in real time, because like I said, I'm a part of the community. So whatever the story is that is being blown up online is the version that they want you to read, that they want you to read into, that they want you to hear. But I like getting multiple sides of the story, especially if it's happening so close to home. So I'm just going to read the Google search, what it said online. It says, the recent legal controversy regarding a Sedona rock shop involves a First Amendment dispute. Two YouTubers filed a pre-suit demand in May 2026 requesting $50,000 and an apology from the city after Sedona police intervened during a filming incident outside an uptown rock shop. I like how vague they are with that. The rock shop in and of itself, I don't want to name them. I do know the name of the rock shop. I'm not going to name them because I don't think they deserve the clout. And really not because of this incident. To be real, I've never actually been down with rock shops. I never thought rock shops were something that we should be practicing as Americans. I don't know. Don't get me wrong, I fell on the trendy bandwagon back in 2020. Back in 2020, when the world was was on fire, we were all reaching for any kind of help or support. And yeah, I was one of the girls, the crystal bitches that would go and reach for rocks. And I am proud to admit that I've never actually bought any crystals. I've never bought rocks for myself, for protection, for whatever the reasons that people buy them nowadays. I've always prided myself on never spending money on things that are literally of the earth. Well, at least rocks, okay, because I can't really avoid spending money on water, but you guys know what the fuck I'm saying. I just thought it was weird that when the big rock explosion, the crystal explosion came out, this was between 2018 and 2022, we had a big crystal rock explosion in America, and it was just a bunch of these crystal bitches walking around, and these shops came out of nowhere. Never in my years have I even heard of a shop that sold rocks. I thought it was a joke. But then they just came out everywhere. And mind you, when this explosion initially, maybe I'm missing the train entirely, maybe they've always been a thing, but I've just seen it being really trendy in the last 6 or 7 years. And when it started coming up, I was in Colorado. I was in Bailey, Colorado, a little mountain town, sort of. It reminds you of think South Park, the show, South Park. That's where I was at when all this was happening. So yeah, these rock shops were just popping up out of nowhere, and then I'm like, oh cool, that's really neat. They're pretty rocks, they're nice and polished and shops, and I go in and I'm seeing the price of these rocks being over thousands of dollars. People could take out loans. Paying off a rock could actually increase your credit. That's how ridiculously priced these things are, and I just thought that in and of itself was just so ridiculous. I've always thought it, call me being judgy, I don't give a shit. I always thought it was just a ridiculous concept that we're selling rocks at these outrageous prices in these shops. And then when you dig a little deeper, you see that the rock, where did they even come from? Well, I dig a little deeper. Everyone should know this already because it's been so trendy within the metaphysical and the spiritual community for the last 10 years. But the indigenous cultures of America, the Native Americans, the indigenous cultures, actually some Egyptian cultures as well, is what I read online somewhere, that they were the ones who are the originators of this healing through crystal magic type shit. You know what I mean? And that's all fine and dandy, whether you believe it or not. It's a sacred practice for certain cultures, and the people who are making the most money from it, at least here in beautiful Sedona, Arizona, bless their heart, they're not indigenous people. And that's the part that really kind of ticks me off a little bit. Yeah, I hate to sound like that. I'm in no way trying to be a freedom fighter or a social justice warrior or anything like that, but what's fair is fair. And I don't think white people should be selling fucking crystals. I don't think they should be selling crystals for healing practices and making so much money off of it, not really knowing the history that it comes from, and they're kind of in a way diluting the history and diluting the culture and sort of making a mockery of it when they have these shops around. Literally, there's so many shops around here, and it turns my stomach a little bit because I know that I don't know. I don't know what percentage Native American these people are, but I know for damn sure they don't have enough Native American blood to be having these giant rock shops. So this lady, well, what I was under the impression of that she was the owner of the rock shop. Well, turns out she was just the manager of the rock shop. And the story that was presented, or that, the narrative that they gave out online was that the guy was just minding his own business, standing in front of the rock shop, and they told him they were trying to violate his First Amendment rights and recording in public, and they told him that he couldn't record on a public sidewalk. I know by now this is old fucking news, and I actually remember making a recording of this topic 2 weeks ago, right when I was having my technical difficulties. So I'm kind of skimming through this story right now, not mostly because it's old news, but also because I've already talked about it. But yeah, so, and it turns out he wasn't just standing outside minding his own business, exercising his First Amendment rights, and they called the cops on him, told him that he couldn't be recording on a public sidewalk. Yeah, that was just part of the story, and I'm not trying to pick a side, but I'm just trying to put out the facts from what I was told here in real time, that content creator, that YouTuber, actually goes around and makes a pretty decent living trying to, quote, educate people who don't know the law. And a lot of small businesses may or may not be suffering from this. Like, I don't know. I support a small business, but I can't really support a business that is appropriating a culture. So that's where I am on the fence with it. It turns out he wasn't just standing outside minding his own business recording. He was in the store recording, which is private property. He was in the physical store recording the employees. And I don't actually know if that's illegal or not, but I do know, like, once you pass that threshold of, like, the front door and the public sidewalk, you're kind of on private property, and, certain rights don't, they can do whatever the fuck they want there. So he didn't get that part on the YouTube, the viral videos on YouTube and all throughout social media. For anyone who's seen this, he didn't get that part, or maybe he did and it was just surfaced later. But that's part of the real story. He was actually being harassing the employees and videotaping inside of their private business. Whether you believe in the business or not, that's one thing. Like, I give it to him because this is one of the biggest rock shops in Sedona, uptown. I'm not going to name them, but you guys know. If you know, you know. So they need to come down in my opinion, they need to be taken down for other reasons, on the spiritual level. But he was, he started from the top, and then he put out some misleading videos, and now everyone's going and apparently sending death threats to this business. I don't support that. Okay, like, by all means, like, I went and left them a 1-star review. Who cares? Like, but death threats is just kind of crossing the line. There's one thing to, like, not spend any of your money, not shop at their business anymore, or to tell all your friends to not shop there anymore, but to go out of your way to send them death threats to their business, like, that's just a little inhumane. That's not right. It's not right. It's not right that the business owner, whoever they are, whether they're appropriating that culture or not, pretty sure they are, it's not right that they're receiving death threats from a misunderstanding that was blown out of control from social media. And it's also not right that the guy who's going around educating the people about their rights is misleading the people through this. He's educating the people through misleading them, and he's making so much more money. I think both sides are exploiting some group of people in some way, and we're the little people. We're the ones who's just consuming all of this, me, myself included. First thing I did when I saw it, I was outraged that she had some audacity, and I went and I rated their business 1 star. And when I thought about it, I was like, I'm not actually mad at her audacity, because that's just what people do. That's what business owners do. I was kind of upset at the fact that she was just so successful while appropriating an indigenous culture. The population in Sedona, or in Arizona as a whole, is not nearly as where it should be as far as the people who are native to this land. And I hate to sound like that girl, but it doesn't bother me until it bothers me. It doesn't bother me until, like, I have to go to work and see it. I'm on a soapbox. I don't care. Like, I'm in the town where, like, there's so many cultures here. It's like they're clashing cultures, that there's no culture. It's actually not the Sedona culture at all. It would probably make me happier if I saw more Mexicans and more Native Americans here, but I don't see that. I see a bunch of white people capitalizing off of their culture, and I don't think it's right. And it's probably what gives me, like, a little prickly vibe. It's the most gorgeous fucking town, like, arguably the most beautiful fucking town in America. I'm calling it the Egypt of America. It's so, like, breathtakingly beautiful, but it's like the local people are not of this land, and that's the part that bothers me. The rich people, the people that are keeping the millions and millions of dollars floating throughout the community, they're not even of this land. Their family's not of this land. They just saw a cash cow and they went for it. They just saw a money opportunity and they went for it. So that was just really my 2 cents about the lady in Sedona. This live is on, but I don't think it's working. I don't know if it's working. Then they don't hear me though. Let me check over here. Is anyone here in the chat? What's the difference between streaming and going live? Like, I guess I'm streaming right now. How do you do this? How do you even do this? I don't want to stream. Is that the same thing? Oh God, y'all. I don't need to be online. Okay, well, I guess we're just gonna abort that mission. Oh, speaking of abortion, that's a good segue. I think I talked last week about how I talked about a few things. Actually, shout out to my new subscribers who came in from the last episode of Chandie Speaks. I got a lot of new subscribers and a couple new followers on Spotify. The main topic of discussion was how pornography was destroying or ruining or cooking a whole generation of men. But I think another part of the topic that I talked about was like the most single state, like how people are not being married anymore. Talked about the most single state. Well, something else popped up in my algorithms. Like I said, speaking of abortion, apparently, and I need to fact check this, but I'm gonna read it right now and then I'm gonna fact check it. It says 52% of women aged 20 to 39 in the USA are now child free. Why that's coming in my algorithm, I don't know. My algorithm knows me, I guess. That's something that it stopped me in my tracks and it made me screenshot it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna check into that later. Let me see what Google has to say. Because yeah, I think it tracks. I think that all tracks. It's all a cycle. Yeah, it says as of 2024 to 2025, childlessness is rising sharply, with over half of American women in their prime childbearing years, 20 to 39, having not yet given birth. So yeah, over half of the women in America are childless, and they're not planning on having children. I think, okay, how do I feel about it? I don't know why I even wanted that to be a discussion this week, but I don't know how I feel about it. I totally support not bringing children into a world that is not safe, but really, how can we ever make it really 100% safe for any child? But I mean, if you ask me, I think it was weird that we were still populating and reproducing years ago. Like when I was a kid, I was like, why are people still having kids? And there's like wars and disease and poverty. Why are we still even reproducing in the first place? But here we are 36 years later, and the birth rate has actually dropped significantly. Over half of the women are childless. I don't know how I feel about it. I guess, okay, I'm 36. I think I'm 36. How old am I? I really feel like I'm 37. Am I 37? I don't know how old I am, bro. Age is just a number, but I guess I've always, or not always, there was a time in my life where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have kids, but I don't know if that was me wanting the kids or me just knowing that that's what women do, is that we have the kids between certain childbearing ages. And as I was approaching the age that the need to wanting to have a kid got just less and less, and then now I'm still in it. I'm 37, still in it. And from time to time, I think like once a year or so, I'll get a feeling to want to have kids or to bring kids into the world, or to find a partner to bring kids into the world with, because I can't do it by myself. And it all just seems like work, just even thinking about it right now. Like my dog kind of annoys me when she doesn't like sit when I tell her to sit. So like, I know it sounds like a petty reason, but I'm just selfish. I'm too selfish to have kids. And maybe, is that what could possibly be why other women are not having kids? Maybe I should ask that. Let me just read the key findings on the childless women. I'm just trying to fill in space at this point. I hope it's still recording. It is still recording. At this point, I'm recording from 3 different places. So we're going to get this podcast, whether it sounds good or not. But it says ages 20 to 39, approximately 23.1 million women in this demographic, so 52% of women were childless as of 2024, which is an increase of 5.7 million over expected trends. The overall rate as of 2022, nearly 47% of all women in the U.S. were childless. That's, yeah, I feel like that tracks. I feel like that all makes sense. It just all makes sense because, I mean, just look at where we are. I mean, oh my God, I could really kind of go in. I would love to have this discussion with someone else because you guys have heard me talk about how I feel about just masculinity and femininity and like just the relationship dynamics that we've all been in, like who, and I'm not even talking about political. This is just all like the relationship stuff. It doesn't make you want to be in a relationship with someone, let alone reproduce and have their kid and just be left alone, because then the real reasons that you don't want to have kids come into play. Like, who would bring a kid into a world that you can't afford groceries, where it's like your basic necessities you can't cover with your minimum wage job, you know, where there's war and disease and all this extra shit. Those are like the bigger reasons, but there's pettier reasons to not bring a kid into the world because of those bigger reasons, and it all just snowballs from there. The rise on involuntary or voluntary childlessness. The share of childless women increased across all age groups except those 45 to 50. Among 20 to 24-year-olds, childlessness reached 85%. And for 25 to 29-year-olds, it reached 63% by 2024. Which, I mean, yeah, I think that's a win. I don't know. I think it's a win. I'd rather us not produce at all than for us to just keep producing shitty human beings and have them be exposed to other shitty human beings. I think that the shitty human beings that we have now are enough. I think they need to die out. Their bloodline needs to die out. And for all the people who are not shitty human beings, if they want to have kids, I pray that they don't need to do them around these other shitty human beings. And if they don't want to have kids, then I pray that they help heal the people who are shitty human beings so that we can move forward as a human race. Because, yeah, I feel like a hard stop is necessary right now. It's not the greatest thing, you know. It's not what I would obviously wish for humanity as a whole. I just want us all to be back to where we're supposed to be. That pendulum needs to start swinging back to the center. I'm tired of hearing it swing this way or that way. I mean, who really wants to reproduce with anyone on either side of the spectrum? I don't feel like anyone on the MAGA side should have kids. I don't feel anybody else on the whatever the fucking other side is. There's a whole other side of brainwashing on the other side too. Any extreme of those, like those extremes need to just die out, in my opinion. Is that too much? I don't give a fuck. It just needs to die out. We don't need any more of those people who can't think for themselves, who can't lead their own lives, who depend on the government, who believe in the government. Okay, I'm stepping down slightly from the soapbox here. I've only been rambling for 30 minutes. Okay, I'm going to read a few more of these notes here because I thought that was interesting. The rising rates. The number of childless women is significantly higher than in previous decades, driven by economic challenges, rising costs of living, and shifting social norms. And there's also age gaps. While childlessness is at 97.8% for ages 15 to 19, it's sad that we have to count the birth rate for 15 to 19-year-olds anyway. But I'm glad that it is very high, that 97.8% of 15 to 19-year-old teenagers, children, are not having kids. I mean, a win is a win. It's also increased steeply to 40.3% for women aged 30 to 34. So yeah, even more women within my age range are having less and less pregnancies in children. Delayed motherhood. Many women are delaying childbirth or opting to remain permanently child-free, causing a significant dip in the overall birth rate. I think the state of our world has a lot to do with that. The state of men and women as a whole. I'm not blaming it on the men. I'm not blaming it on the women. Women need to collectively grow in their femininity, and so do men need to grow in their masculinity. I strongly support not having kids at an early age or at all if this is the world that we're bringing them into. Why? I mean, do we have to be born into adversity? I mean, can we just have a world where they're just born into a world that was ready for them? that was made for them to be born into. I don't know. And I really hope this is recording. I really hope this is all recording on this microphone, because I like the sound quality. Is that all I have? I'm just gonna, abort the live mission because I don't think it's working. And there was something else that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think that's it. This might just be a short episode. I have this one screenshot, but I don't think I have... It's not even that I don't have enough information. I just don't really care enough to really dive into it. My heart's not really into this topic, but I'm just going to briefly go over it, and maybe I'll have more information in the future, or maybe next week or something. I'll come up with something. I'm not sure, but this map came across, and I didn't fact check this either, but it came across my feed, and it said U.S. counties with the highest and lowest rates of excessive drinking. Okay, so here's the thing. You guys are now learning that the things that I choose to talk about, that I'm gathering from ideas from social media, now you're kind of have an idea of where my mind goes. Like, my algorithm last week was really big on the pornography and singles, and now this week it's on childless women and excessive alcohol drinking for some reason. Like I said, I don't care enough to even go into it, but I just thought it was an interesting map. And because I lingered on that map for a little bit to read the statistics, like, I'm going to be getting more posts like that, and I don't know if I really want them. So you guys beware of the algorithm. That's all I'm trying to say with that. This other post came up in my feed, which I think I just screenshot it because I'm like, hey, I can talk about this, but at the same time, it's like, I don't care enough to talk about it, to go and do a deep dive on it. But there was this video of this AI robot. The headline says, Chinese state media reported that the park paused the robot's performances after the incident. So apparently this little, like, child-size AI robot or something, I don't know if it's AI or whatever, but it was a robot. All right, y'all. I had to stop recording because the friend who was letting me record at their place, they came home. And of course, I tried to listen back to the video version of this, the recording of this episode that has the better sound quality. And of course, my computer is totally glitching out. I don't know what the hell is going on. So I'm finishing up this podcast. I know it's like so painful and annoying. It's very annoying for me. So I'm sure it's very annoying for you guys. Just getting inconsistent sound quality for the last 3 episodes. It's kind of bugging me out. So I'm going to go and get myself a whole new laptop tomorrow. First thing when I get out of work, I'm just going to go get me a new laptop because this is ridiculous. As a content creator, I can't have devices that don't work or that don't work properly. So yeah. I'm going to do my best to just finish up this podcast. Again, sorry for the sound quality. I'm sure it sounds fine, but it's just not as good as I would want it to be. But I think I was talking about this robot that was in China. Apparently, there's this robot that was dressed up. It was like this little kid-sized robot, and it was like doing either dancing moves or like taekwondo or some kind of karate movements or something like that. And it was like walking down the street. Go check the video out. I don't know how old this video is, but it's fairly new, maybe a week old or something. But long story totally short, like, the robot was doing these moves and it kicked this kid like hard in the chest. Like, he did a full-blown karate kick to the chest of this little boy, and the boy like couldn't breathe. Like, he went down. The boy went down, and the robot, then they turned the robot off. Like, apparently the robot can be controlled. The headline says that the Chinese state media reported that the park paused the robot's performances after the incident. So yeah, I guess this robot was performing. Whatever the case, maybe the kids were standing too close, but I just thought it was just kind of funny. Like, the only time I see these videos, like videos of like this, where robots are malfunctioning in some way, they're all taking place sort of in the same part of the world, like somewhere in Asia, China, somewhere over there, somewhere. They love them. They just love these robots having around, and every time they have them, every time I see videos of them, I'm sure they're not all like this, but the ones that make it to the social media are the ones that are abusing people or that are straight falling. You guys saw that one video where the one robot was doing like the Michael Jackson dance. He was dancing to like Billie Jean or something, and then like soon as he started dancing, he like hit a step and fell, and and that was the whole dance. Like he started doing the moonwalk or something, and then he like tripped and fell, and then like that's it. I don't know how entertaining that can be, but I know this is not really interesting news to report on, but this is the world that we live in where I'm reporting on robots right now. So yeah, bear with me. Yeah, people are lined up. A lot of them are from China. A lot of them are all out there, out east, and they're just watching these robots just malfunction, and they're totally entertained, and I don't understand it. Some of them are physically assaulting children. Go look up these videos of like robots or AI robots failing, and you'll see what the hell I'm talking about. But I don't really have much of a podcast after that. Let's see. I think that's it. I'm still planning to get a passport stamp. I'm still planning my trip. I have a countdown that I have on my phone. I like booking my flight at least 100 days in advance, and we are just underneath. We're just over that threshold. I'm at 133 days before I'll be 100 days out from the trip in March. So yeah, I'll be booking a flight here within the next 130 days, and most likely I'm really planning on it to be somewhere in Africa. Don't even care where, just anywhere in Africa. I've been just keeping my eye on the flights and the rates and the hotels. I made a couple friends out here who are from Africa, who are from Egypt, I'm networking with Egyptian people. Yeah, I have my heart set on Egypt. I don't care, because for some reason, like, my heart was set up on Egypt years ago. Of course, I mean, anyone who, it's like the Disneyland for Africans, I feel like. I mean, I've always wanted to go to Egypt. My heart was set on it years ago. But before, I remember wanting to go to Egypt so bad, I wanted to go to Israel, or what we now refer to as Israel today, because when I wanted to go to it, it was like there was still a Gaza Strip. There was still a Palestine. And then all this shit started happening. And then like every year that goes by, the likelihood or the possibility of me going to that side of the world at all just gets less and less. And this year I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care if I get hit in the crossfire. I'm going to fucking Egypt. My Egypt friend told me that drones are not allowed, which kind of is bumming me out. But it makes sense, because there's so much shit going on all over there. He said that they will stop me at the airport if I bring my drone. So that I know, at least I know that now. Let me down easy, because that would have really bummed me out if I made all the plans to get all this cool drone footage of the pyramids or anywhere in Egypt, and they stopped me right at the immigration. And he said that they may not give it back to you. Like, you may get it back, but you may not get it back. So I'm just going to play it safe, and most likely I won't be bringing my drone. Yeah, it sucks. Of course, of all the places that I would have wanted to bring my drone, this would be the place, but I'm not going to do that. But at least I know that I won't be allowed, and it'll probably be confiscated without returning it back to me. So now I can just plan for that, Hopefully all my other devices won't be malfunctioning as they tend to do whenever I go places, whenever I need to do shit. My devices are halfway charged, like, pretty much all the time. But, okay. I'm just trying to fill in space. So let me just end this podcast. I say this is going to be the end of the podcast. How about that? Is that all I wanted to do? This will be the end of the podcast for anyone who is not a J. Cole fan. Specifically J. Cole, but subcategory of any hip-hop fan in general, because now I'm about to go into the J. Cole weekly fall-off review, along with some other hip-hop stats for the week. Thank you all for listening. It's been a fun year so far for anyone who's a hip-hop fan. So, yeah, it's been fun. I think last week I halfway reported on some freestyle that Jay-Z had put out in response to Drake's recent many discs from the Iceman album. And I didn't really care to report on that because mostly I'm not a Jay-Z fan. I don't really care about his music. I don't see what the hype is all about. A lot of people this week I've seen all of a sudden when Jay-Z puts out a fucking freestyle, it's like subpar. Like, I feel like I feel like J. Cole could have wrote a better freestyle in his sleep, but whatever. But now all of a sudden you see all these Jay-Z fans come out the woodworks. Like, where have you guys been this whole fucking time? And I'm not trying to ride anyone's, dick, or I'm not trying to be on this side or that side, but I believe Drake mentioned something like this in one of his songs about how everyone just sort of runs to Jay-Z for the answers instead of standing in their own truth. They go and see, like, well, what does Jay-Z have to say about it? I'm like, why is everyone on this guy's dick? Like, he's not even that good. All the old heads are going to hate me for it, and I don't care. I never liked him. I never liked Jay-Z, from Big Pimpin' to Encore to Watch the Throne. Okay, maybe Watch the Throne because I really do fuck with Kanye, but I never liked him. And not to mention, did we forget that he's on the Epstein list? Did we forget that he's amongst the elite people who possibly eat children? Is that like forgotten about? Like, not enough people are outraged by that. They're just like, oh, he's for the culture. I mean, come on. There are plenty of other rappers out there who are for the culture who have never been to the Epstein Island. That's all I'm saying. Like, this is where Kendrick Lamar would actually come in. I'm not a big Kendrick Lamar fan, but I'll put him above Jay-Z all day long. I'll put Kendrick above Jay-Z. But anyway, I don't know why I went on a tangent about that. Because Drake made a lot of disses in his Iceman album, and I'm not a crazy Drake fan, but I listened to the album. Specifically, one song, Whisper My Name, has been on repeat, and that's about it for me. Maybe plot twists, maybe make them cry, but it's still average to me. But a lot of the things that he was saying in the album make sense. Apparently, this is also old news by the time this goes up. I didn't know, but this just happened. I guess it's not old news. I gotta stop saying that. It just happened within the last few weeks since the rollout of the Iceman album and the other two pieces of hot garbage that he released at the same time. Apparently, Drake officially surpassed Michael Jackson for the most Billboard Hot 100 #1 hits by a male solo artist. This is the part where I put my applause in. If I had a little applause machine going on, because I think that's dope. A lot of people were hating on it this week. Again, I don't really give two shits about any of the elites, any of these people. They're all, here to control us, blase, but I think that's an accomplishment. Michael Jackson is one of the greats. They're not comparing him to one of the greatest artists, like talent-wise or musically. Like, obviously, someone out in Singapore or Australia can name a Michael Jackson song, any Michael Jackson song, more than they can name any Drake song, I think, or faster. So yeah, it's just as far as the cultural impact. A lot of people don't want to admit it, but the numbers don't lie. He has been, Drake, whether people like it or not, has been an impact on the culture. A lot of people, not everyone, okay, a lot of people will get to that point in like the timeline where they'll be able to name off like classic Drake songs, and that's, I think, the point of it, and that's a great accomplishment. He's basically at the same level as Michael Jackson, accomplishment wise. I don't care if anyone didn't like hearing that, but I give off my hats, I give off my glove, better yet, to Drake for doing that. And besides, the people who grew up listening to Michael Jackson, like, Michael Jackson obviously is timeless, okay? Like, my mom listened to him, my grandparents listened to him, my niece and probably her kids are going to listen to him. He's going to stand the test of time. However, a lot of the people who were alive during the height of his, phenomenon, his whole life career, a lot of them are dying off. Like I say, in another 30 years, it'll literally, he will just be a legendary tale. Like, no one who would be alive at that point would have even been alive during his final fucking moments. And Drake is basically carrying the weight for all that, and props to him. I just want to give a little shout out to that. I don't know what the actual numbers are. Let me read what Google says. It says the 2018 collaboration Don't Matter to Me. I don't know what the fuck that is even about. Drake recently surpassed Michael Jackson on the all-time Billboard Hot 100 for the most #1 hits by a solo male artist. Way to go, Aubrey. Way to go. With his track, Janice STFU. Gosh, probably the most annoying song on the album, because I just don't like it. Everyone likes it. And okay, cool. The people get to decide. See, the thing about streaming nowadays, like back in the day, people would just know. It would just be like unanimous decision. Everyone know, like, yo, this song is going to be the classic. This is going to be the single that gets released. This is going to be the single that gets played all summer long. And this is going to be the classic song. But now people aren't even dropping singles anymore. They're dropping whole albums. Shit, in Drake's case, 3 albums at midnight at the same time. 43 tracks of like mostly hot garbage. And then they're letting the people decide which one is going to be the single, which one is going to be the summer track, which one is going to be the, and there's for me, I feel like that's a slippery slope, because like, who are influencing the people to decide in the first place? You know, like if Janice STFU is going to be in the same conversation as Thriller, then I'm sorry, I can't be a part of that conversation. Sorry. Because like, yeah, there used to be some kind of like, I don't know, score sheet or something we can judge it off of, some kind of formula for us to decide, like all around, this is a hit record, this is a classic, this is not a classic, this is not a hit record. But now everyone's just like, do whatever they want. People will post like a 10-second clip. I know I'm preaching. I don't give a fuck. They'll post a 10-second clip of a song, and now on TikTok, and now everybody on TikTok is posting that same 10-second clip to the song. Is the song itself hot? Probably not, but they know that those 10 seconds of that song, and every time it comes on, they know what dance to do with it, and that's what makes things stick around. Whoever came up with dancing to songs to make it trendy and viral on TikTok, like I guess hats off to you, because that's basically what's taken over right now. Can 10 seconds of your song, regardless of how good it is, can 10 seconds of your song have a dance coordinated to it and be shared over 100 million times? That's basically what it is. Okay, and here's another example. I know this is a great example because, yeah, I don't like to admit that I spend a lot of time on TikTok, but I do, okay? And probably my listeners are about 50-50. Actually, I looked at my analytics. A lot of my listeners aren't even on TikTok, okay? They're coming from YouTube. But I digress. There's this content creator on TikTok who does a dance. I'm sure anyone who's on TikTok knows who I'm talking about. His name is Rico. Shout out to Rico. I'm not throwing any shade to him at all. He did a very specific dance to a song that came out over 20 years ago. It was a 𝙁𝗵𝗶𝘀 song. Okay. And even me, I grew up during the time when this song was out, and I don't even know the song, even after it's been popularized by this content creator, Rico. He does a dance to it, and then it's only for like 10 seconds. And so it gets shared, the dance gets shared over and over again, and then the people do the dance to it. And then what comes to find out, 𝙁𝗵𝗶 gets a hold of it. Now it's gotten so popular that he made a song that was already popular 20 years ago. He made it popular enough again to get back to the creator, 𝙁𝗵𝗶 herself, and now she's doing his dance to her song that was out 20 years ago. That's not even the kicker. I think that's cool. Everyone gets their flowers. But the people that are doing the dance, they don't know that song. They don't know that song unless you grew up during when it was released originally. But the kids today who are doing, the moral of the story is this, you ain't hitting this, like, nobody knows past the end of the dance. And I've been seeing that around. Nobody actually knows the lyrics to that song outside of the 10 seconds of that fucking clip. I'll wait. Or unless you're like in your 30s and you grew up with the song, or if you're like a die-hard 𝙁𝗵𝗶 fan, which is rare these days. But so like, I'm happy that, yeah, she's getting her flowers for a song that was already hot. She already got her flowers for it, but you know, and now there are a lot of people who are just now knowing who the fuck 𝙁𝗵𝗶 is. Right now, there are people who are just now learning who 𝙁𝗵𝗶 is because of this content creator, Rico, who just did a goofy dance to a fucking, a classic song. I just like, so yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that, except that's where we are right now. Janice, shut the fuck up. The song Janice STFU from the Iceman album Drake was the song that put Drake just over the top, surpassing Michael Jackson as a solo male artist with #1 hits. And that song sucks. I'm sorry. It's the most annoying song on the album. You will not catch me getting behind that song. There won't be a podcast down the line like I did with the Let Out on the Fall Off, because you guys know I did not like the Let Out at first. Could not stand the Let Out. Could not stand Safety at first. And now those two songs are my absolute favorite songs. I don't go a single day without listening to Safety or the Let Out. And I've cried to those songs, okay? This isn't going to be that. You're not going to hear me 4 or 5 months down the line saying, you know what? Janice STFU is actually a solid banger, because it's not. We're forcing it. And I'm sorry that this is what I think the kids purposely pick out shitty songs because they know that the adults aren't going to like it. They know that the adults are going to like it. Like, let's pick the worst fucking song so we can have it for ourselves. So the adults will just be like, oh, I just don't understand this fucking new music. Because I don't. And you guys did it. I don't understand it. But that was the song. It says Drake also eclipsed Michael Jackson in a major Billboard 200 milestone. He became the first artist in history to have multiple albums, Take Care, Nothing Was the Same, and Views, that each spent at least a full decade on the Billboard 200 chart. And I did not know that. Good for him. Yeah, those 3 albums spent at least a full decade on the Billboard 200 chart. And yeah, there's crazy. There's a whole list, breakdown of Drake's record breaking, his records versus Michael Jackson's records, like how they stack up historically. So I thought that was interesting. But anyway, I'm basically over this podcast. I'm gonna go get into my weekly review. As you guys know, The Fall Off by J. Cole was released February 6, 2626 this year. And ever since that motherfucker was released, ever since I discovered it late February, I have listened to basically nothing else. Basically got nothing else on me. Whenever I get tired of listening to The Fall Off, I go back to Forest Hill Drive, or I go back to Off Season, or I'll even go back to Friday Night Lights. I'll go back to any other J. Cole album, but it's all J. Cole. If anybody wants me to listen to new music in 2026, you're going to have to wait till 2027, because 2026 is the year of J. Cole, for me personally. I'm going to go see him live in Phoenix here in a few months. We're coming up quick on that. That being said, the only reason why I put Drake in there is because you guys know why I put Drake in the conversation, because he's directly tied to J. Cole. But if that weren't the case, it's all J. Cole this year. I hear a lot of people talking still. I feel like all the hate with the top 3 is coming from a forced place, and also most likely coming from a place of just inauthenticity. Like, people are just reading how they should feel on these social media platforms, and then they go and they regurgitate that shit, and then depending on where or what time they post it or what they say, like, it just picks up speed. And then you got all these group of dick riders or all these group of haters, and it's like, you don't really know why you're hating on them, but you just been told how to hate on these people. And I feel like, I'm like, if you were hating on Drake, for example, so hard, why the hell is he passing records from Michael Jackson? If I'm just saying, if we were hating on J. Cole so bad, why the hell is he still breaking records? Why are people still listening to him? Streams, album sales, whatever. So I think there's just a lot of people faking it the whole time. Just let it be known that I'm not faking it. I'm not gonna sit here and say that, oh, he's the best rapper alive, but for me, he's my favorite rapper alive. He's my favorite rapper alive. So every week, I'm just getting to my Spotify stats, and then I'm going to just get on out of here. Thank you all for listening. Follow me, subscribe, like, share, comment. I'm going to get this recording thing down. It's getting really hot in here, so I got to get going. Today is the 9th, so I'm going to say my stats from last week, which was... Oh, I think I did the week before. Did I do the 25th or the 31st? I think I read the 25th through the 31st already. So we're going to read last week's from June 1st through June 7th. So between June 1st through June 7th on Spotify, I listened to 3,619 minutes. My top artist for the week is J. Cole, of course. Top 5 artists for the week are all on the fall off, except for my number 2, which is Drake. I'll listen to the fall off now. What I'm doing, I have a routine where I'll listen to the fall off like first thing in the morning, which is right when I get off work. And then I'll think about the song Whisper My Name, and I'll like sprinkle it in my queue. I'll add in Whisper My Name like 3 different times. After every third fall off song, I'll listen to Whisper My Name. In fact, I'd be surprised if it didn't make my top 5 most played songs this week, because I did listen to it a little bit more than last week. Whisper My Name is a solid banger. It's a solid banger. The beat goes crazy. But my top 5 artists between June 1st and June 7th is J. Cole at number 1, Drake at number 2, Future at number 3, P.D. Pablo at number 4, and Burna Boy with number 5. Now let me go into my top songs for the week. Between June 1st and June 7th, I listened to 181 songs this week. Woo! All 5 of them are on the fall off, but we did have a Drake song making a debut. First person this year to not be J. Cole within my top 5 playing songs. Guys, guess where? It's not, top 3. It's in the top 5, though. So my top song for the week is, of course, Bombs in the Ville / Hit the Gas. I played that song 89 times this week. Still a classic. Still my favorite fucking song. And of course, another, like I've said before, it's one of those songs where I didn't like at first. It was slow at first. I couldn't get it at first. But now it's it moves me every single time. I love that song. Bombs in the Ville / Hit the Gas is my number 1 listened to song this week with 89 plays. And The Let Out is number 2 with 32 plays. Safety is at number 3 with 29 plays. I told you, every day, I can't go a day without listening to those 3 songs. Bombs in the Ville, The Let Out, and Safety. I'm listening to those at least every single day since the album was released. Number 4, making a debut on my top 5 songs, is Whisper My Name with Drake. Congratulations. He made it to my top 5 with 22 plays. Shout out to Drizzy. Whisper My Name. You gotta whisper my name. 22 plays. And number 5 is back to the fall off, J. Cole with Who the Fuck Is You with 21 plays. I think that's it. That's all I really wanted to talk about. I got to get going. I got to take a shower, go get some food, take a nap, edit this podcast. I'll see you guys next week.